Welcome to the Data Strategy Show. My name's Samir Sharma and I'll be your host for the next 50 minutes. We have now come to the final episode of Series 1. Don't worry, we'll be back for Series 2 and a new and reinvigorated show. So for the final episodes, it's a great pleasure to be speaking to 3 data leaders based in Peru. My guests today are Iván Herrero Bartolomé, and he is the Chief Data Officer at Grupo Intercorp. He has more than 20 years of experience in executive positions and is now responsible for the data strategy across the whole entire group, and that's 30 plus companies in finance, retail, education and healthcare. Iván is the co-founder of CDO LATAM. Introducing Leandro Rocha de Andrade, and he's the Senior VP, Chief Data and Analytics Officer at Banco de Crédito del Peru. He has more than 20 years of experience in executive positions related to database marketing, advanced analytics, AI, CRM, and business intelligence, all impacting the bottom line, delivering solutions based on customer experience demands for consumer and corporate segments. Leandro is a board member of CDO LATAM. And my final guest is Erick Jaramillo. He is the Director Head of Digital Data and Analytics at Scotiabank and has nearly 20 years of professional experience in the financial industry, leading teams helping to solve business challenges through the use of disruptive technologies, innovation, data and analytics. So without further ado, please enjoy this episode and don't forget to comment, like and share with your network. Thank you. Leandro, Iván, and Erick, welcome to the Data Strategy Show. It's a real pleasure to have you all here today. One of the few episodes I've done where there's 3 people, so I'm looking forward to a great conversation. Leandro, why don't you go first and tell me a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for being here. So I'm currently the CDAO, Chief Data and Analytics Officer at Crédito Group. Crédito Group is one of the largest financial institutions or corporations in Peru and in the Andean region, and lots of challenges that we are facing right now in that subject. So thanks so much for being here.
It's a pleasure. Iván.
Hi, Samir. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here with Erick and Leandro, some good friends of mine. We've known each other from some time now.
Fantastic.
I'm a telecommunications engineer. From Spain.
Yeah.
And I've been living here in Lima for the last 2 years and a half. And I'm the Chief Data Officer of Intercorp. Intercorp is one of the largest groups in Peru, and we operate more than 30 companies in different sectors such as retail, finance, banking, insurance, healthcare, education, entertainment.
Wow.
So yes, it's very funny to be part of the group and to be engaging with the different companies, the challenges we are facing to achieve our purpose, which is make Peru the best place in Latin America to grow a family. So
fantastic.
Quite
I love
inspiring.
It. Yeah, great. Well, Erick, coming to you. I mean, the one thing I have to mention is, Erick, you put us together. So that's a great thing that you've done. And also you've brought the Data Strategy Show to Latin America. So thank you so much. Erick, go for it.
Thank you. Hi, Samir. It's very exciting to be here finally.
Yeah.
So it's a great space, I think. Also with Iván, Leandro. So for me, it's a great experience to share this space.
Mm-hmm.
Well, about me, I can mention that I'm relatively new here in Scotiabank because I used to work in PCP also with Leandro. I'm responsible of the data and analytics team in the digital banking here in Scotiabank.
Okay, perfect. Well, look, thank you so much for giving me your backgrounds. I just like to open it up. You've Leandro and Iván, you both talked about challenges in terms of your industries and your corporations, and no doubt, Erick, you've also got many challenges being a new entrant in Scotiabank in that sense. But Iván, tell me a little bit. You've got a lot going on in your businesses, multiple businesses, and you're having to work on multiple dimensions. Well, huge challenges for you across that. What are some of the things that you are day to day attempting to get over, with data?
Well, you have to face the typical challenges related to the complexity of gathering information and structuring it properly, all the technical stuff that has to happen, so we can drive value for the business on top of that. But I would say that being that challenge so complex as it is, probably the hardest part of the equation is always people, is the culture, is changing people's habits. When I think myself as the role of the CDO officer is not just to achieve to solve the technical complexities, which it is, it's in part, but I see myself as a change agent. We have to help move our companies towards a more data-driven or insight-driven culture. So we have to change the culture, and the technical stuff is just a mean to change that culture, to make easier for our colleagues to change the way they make some decisions, and to help them change the way they operate. We have to give them different tools, but those are just tools for a greater change that we're seeking. So I think that the hardest part is always people, because what we want to transform is culture, not technology.
It's interesting you say that, because I recently put a survey out on LinkedIn, and it was focused around the CDO. So one of the things that I've been dealing with a number of CDOs and coaching CDOs is the fact that there's a lot more of a need for what you termed as the change agent. But interestingly, as I put out the sort of typical traits, I had 3 traits. Technology, should the CDO be technology focused? Should the CDO be business focused? Or should the CDO be a change agent? Or all of the above and a unicorn? 55% of the 378 people said they should be unicorns. Leandro, is that true or not? What do you think, Leandro?
Well, I just couldn't agree more. I think of course
varying levels, right?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's very important to know the technology. Although I agree with Iván that it's not the core issue that we have nowadays. But we need to be closer to the business. If you want to change culture, it's very important to be closer to them and work together and come up with solutions, analytic solutions together. And of course, why is that? Because we need to promote the change. We need to be the change agent that you just mentioned in your but I believe that, one of the main challenge that we have is to put together the right people, because it's not easy to become a unicorn.
No, not at all.
So one of the way that we can achieve this purpose is to put together a team with a diversity people, technology people, business people, and many other professions and different kinds of thinking, and that's why, and that's how we. And I believe that that's the most difficult part: how to find the best people to transform. The organization, and people in this unicorn,
And I think that's a great. I think that's why having being in a leadership seat is the point of surrounding yourselves with the right people who have the right technical components or who have the right, business knowledge as well as culture and change impact. So I think that's an interesting facet, in terms of the mindset a leader has to have, specifically in the data area. So Erick, you've just joined Scotiabank. You've come into a leadership position yourself. You've got to now start to embed, no doubt, a data and analytics strategy, and start working with the business. How are you going about aligning those the sort of principles of data strategy with the business?
Well, I think I agree absolutely with what you mentioned. I think that, data monetization is a topic that it's very interesting to put on the table, because I think that because of also of the context that we are having today, it's a challenge, because organizations are looking for business value, and also they are looking for efficiency a lot. So it's a challenge, and I think that people should understand that the data monetization is like a process. It's something that doesn't happen from one day to other. So we need to create, or to start by thinking in a strategy, a data strategy, and a strong and a smart data strategy, I think, in order to be success in this journey. So I think that a great data strategy is one that can help us to bring value constantly, and also should be like I don't know if the word is responsible, but we need to combine the bring value constantly, and also to maintain a perspective about the future, in order to create a solid data foundation that can help us to scale in the time, right?
No, I agree with you. Yeah, and I think the idea that the most organizations are now looking for, we want value from our data. But the fact that getting value from your data is fine, you can do that. But if people are saying we need to do AI, but hold on, we need to have the foundations in place. The complexities about data management, data governance, data quality. What are some of those challenges that you've had, Iván, seeing as there's quite a complex layer in your organization's sort of, businesses?
Yeah, that's probably one of the, I call it the trap of the CDO.
Yes.
When you're hired, there's a lot of expectations. When a company hires a CDO, that implies that there's some kind of maturity level in the company, because they have come to the decision to hire a leader who's going to be focused on data. But when a company does so, that takes this kind of decision, there's a lot that they expect from this person, but they don't really know very well what to expect from this person. So when you hire a CFO, you know what you expect from your CFO. But when you hire a CDO, you don't really know what to expect from him or from her. So you have first of all, you have to manage the expectations of the stakeholders. But what is always common is that those expectations are very high. So, and everything that they normally expect from you is how you're going to use AI and machine learning to bring these sexy use cases, which are going to bring millions of dollars in a couple of
in a couple of hours, no doubt. In
a couple of hours, better hours than months. And that's, I call it the trap of the CDO, because I think that's really a trap for both the CDO and the company. That just brings a lot of anxiety and and that brings to a very short term of the CDO, because those expectations are impossible to meet.
Yeah.
Because we normally don't have even access to the data. If you don't have, if a company hasn't had a CDO in place, very probably they don't have data in a very structured way. The data is in silos all around the company. There's a lot of manual activities going
processing.
on. Yeah, a lot of errors, bad quality in the data. So there's a lot of things you have to fix before you can actually move to proving solid results for the business.
Yeah.
And yes, we have to find a balance, but I think normally it takes a bit more than expected to show actual results for the business. If you are the first generation CDO, if you're not the first one and someone has like paved the pace for you, yeah, probably
it's a little bit healthiest place to be. Leandro, you were gonna chip in there.
Yeah, I'd like to add something. I mean, I truly think that the foundations are very important, but we cannot wait for the foundation to be ready to start generating, to monetizing your data. And it's very important to have this communication plan. I mean, with all the entire organization, since the general manager, the president, the CEO, until the lowest level of the organization. But one thing that I believe that we should work in order to succeed in this journey of generating value from the data is to, I would say, to create this ownership on business units. You know, I mean, it's very. I mean, it's easier to listen and say that we are generating money from the use of the data. But I mean, the data itself, it's not generating money. It's not generating business. The business is generating money.
Of course it is, yeah.
Using the data is the way that they increase a lot the result of the organization. So if the business is making money, it's very important to have the business on board and say, hey, I'm going to generate data to the entire organization, and I'm going to use data to take decisions, to create products, to create a value proposition to our customers. And that's why that's what I believe it's the main challenge that we're facing in terms of monetizing the data. So it's very important to have the long-term plan, how we're going to generate for the organization. But to do so, we need to business, and that's a very important point in this discussion.
So how do you get them into, you know, you've just clearly outlined that it's very, you know, ownership is something that is incredibly difficult, I think, especially when you've got business teams who really haven't been exposed to data in the way that you've just mentioned. How do you start to get the business on side? How, you know, for example, say you have a 100-day plan, you know, as a CDO, you're going to commit to a 100-day plan. You're firing on all pistons. You know, you've spoken to the president, the CEO, you know, the board, everybody's rah and up for it. And suddenly you've got this business landscape and everybody's saying, who the hell are you? You know,
sure. You know, but I mean, I would say, I mean, the first thing is to establish a team that's going to be responsible for this ideation and value management. So the idea is to talk with the business and try to understand what would be the main pain points and the main opportunities that the business are looking at. And based on that, then we are going to transform these pain points into solutions. And what would be the analytic solution to tackle each one of those pain points, or to generate the I don't know, the amount of results that the business units are going to generate? I mean, we try to become a partner of this business unit. This business unit has goals, has, I mean, all the responsibility in order to generate this the budget that they are responsible for. And what we are starting at is to say, hey, I'm here to help you out. And how we're going to do so? First of all, we are going to think on all the possibilities that we can using data analytics. Second, we are going to evaluating that. What would be the benefit that's going to generate? And this is done by the business and the analytics translators. I mean, the guys from this ideation and value management group. After all, considering that we're going to have huge projects and short projects, let's start with the shortest, but with the highest value. And based on that, we can start work on that. So let's work on that. So let's start a MVP or whatever. I mean, that we can deliver, I don't know, in maybe 2, 4, 6 weeks maximum. And then let's prove the results. Based on that, we are getting confidence. You know? You're getting confidence and you're generating confidence for the business partner. And when he or she is confident about using data to perform better business or to increase the results of their business unit, they are going to work together in the entire plan. That's how I would start.
Agreed. Erick, you've come into a position where you're probably in the first 3 weeks of your new role, possibly, yeah. And you're having to work with the business and to outline, the vision of data analytics. How is your approach been to, I like the way that Leandro talked about the ideation group. And I think that's very much where I come from in terms of a design thinking perspective and so on, because with data, you need to have that view at the beginning and the impact can be made incrementally. How have you gone around, introducing new concepts or new ideas within the business teams around data?
I share the main insights as well as Ivan and Leandro, because at least here, what I realize is that there is a lot of expectation from one side. The business are expecting a lot from what the data analytics team can do, and also on the other side, the contribution or the support to the business to increase the revenue or to reduce the cost are really not too much right now from the things that the data analytics team are doing right now. So there is a gap there, an opportunity, of course, and also we have a lot of silos, as well as Ivan mentioned. So there I think we have like a missing data strategy to be success. So I think that I like what Leandro was mentioned, because I think that everything should start from the key business initiative. We need to identify that what are those initiatives, and we need to look for embedded data in the business data, in the business strategy. That is the success that we need to follow. So
I like that in terms of embedding the data components to the business strategy. Most people isolate data as a this beautiful thing that when we say it needs to be, I wish I didn't have to speak about data strategy. It's just business, right? As you so eloquently said, Leandro. But we've got to separate those things out in order to understand how we're going to be using the various tools and techniques, and how we're going to be change agents. So Ivan, I'm really quite interested, because you just coming back to you used the fact that you are a change agent, and for okay, you talked about technology, but people and culture is extremely important to you, obviously, because you've got quite a complex landscape. And I'm sure each of you have just as equally complex landscapes. How do you get the board, the C-suite, and the operational teams to really understand the impact on culture that data will play?
That's a great question. We've been doing several things regarding that point. We've done like internal summits, bringing people from all over the world, talking to our C-suite members about the challenges they have had to face, how they solve them, what to focus on in the beginning, what to start focusing on as you work through this transformation path. We've implemented a data fluency program for special for the C-suite.
Okay.
So we have more than 100 people that has already passed through this
Wow.
data fluency program, and it's as I mentioned, just for the C-suite of the companies. We've done other programs more oriented to mid-management on how to make decisions based on data, and we talk about the human biases.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
This is something that it's embedded in our ADN. So we have all of these make errors. All of us make errors while making decisions if we are not aware of these biases we all have. So we have to be conscious of this, have to be aware of these biases, and know some techniques of how we can integrate data to mitigate these kind of biases. So we've been doing a lot of things regarding of making everyone aware of the potential we have by using our data and the risk we have if we don't use our data properly. And we also we are performing some initiatives to define a data strategy for each company in the group. And being a conglomerate of more than 30 companies, that's not something that's easy to achieve. But we start with the C-suite. We start with a kickoff, with all the support from the CEO of each company, and then we interview every member of the C-suite to understand what are their goals, what they think they work just fine now, and what is not, what kind of opportunities they see that we can leverage the data of the company to achieve. And then we start going down the hierarchy of the company, speaking with mid-managers and to the front line. We go all the way down to the front line, to the operations, and we perform some workshops and focus groups to have a clear understanding of the different opportunities that are shared between the strategic view of the company, but also by the people that are in the front line in the operations of the company. So then that gives us a better picture of where the opportunities are for each company, and then we can, on top of that work, knowing the different opportunities, start aligning the priority of those opportunities with the C-level, and then go back again to think of how we could untap those opportunities. What kind of initiative we could do to transform those opportunities into value for the business. So I think the only way to align the company is to listen to the different people that form the company and bring the spaces where they can talk to each other and start working in silos, define opportunities that they can work together on. So that's where the change begins, when you start like breaking the silos in the different functional areas and having them work together in a data strategy. So starting from the business goals.
Yeah, no, I love the fact that you've gone top down, because I think you really need to do that from the beginning. You know, you have to have the C-suite and the board on your shoulders helping you, and you know that trickles down. But you know, that's the utopian way of doing it, right? I think there's always going to be, and you know, in my experience, there's always those people who have become skeptical of change and transformation.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, you know, Leandro, where you've encountered such people in your journey, and you've had to translate or to persuade, what types of things should a CDO really know about people in order to drive out those skeptical people, or those people who want to, you know, I call them this, but I was speaking to someone the other day and they call them the data squirrels, those who want to keep the data over here and not tell anybody anything about the data they've got. How do you get them to expand their horizons and think beyond, you know?
Yeah, you know, I mean, you have to talk the same language that each one of those guys are talking. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, and of course, this is just I'm just kidding about the language, but I mean, the way is different. Groups requires different communication. You know, different messages.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the message is the same, but the communication is different.
It's different, yeah.
If you are too attached to our data and you think that this is yours, and because you have your data, you have the power in the organization,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have a communication on that sense. I mean, how can you improve your power?
Mm-hmm.
By sharing your data and using data from someone else? No.
Yeah.
How can I put the spot on you and say, hey, this guy is not only generating good data for the organization,
Mm-hmm.
but he's sharing, and because of that, the other one is increased the result. So you are responsible. You know, I mean, you have to have the same communication, same message that someone is expecting to have. I mean, and this is valid for every level: board of directors, C-suite,
Mm-hmm.
middle management, frontline. And I agree that it's not just a message for each one of the group. It is almost a message for each necessity of each people in each one of those groups. You know. So I believe that by having this proper communication, you can convince people to do what you believe that can help more or improve more the results of the organization by using data analytics.
Yeah. And I think there's a view that one also can show them the value of how it will help their position, how it will help them improve what they do day in, day out. So that gives them an overarching sense of responsibility, but also some control, because you know that's
Absolutely.
what they are looking for. So let's get on to the conversation of monetization. Erick brought it up. It's a fascinating conversation because data monetization has always been a dirty word. You know, as far as many people have, you know, they think that data monetization is just about selling people's, you know, personal data. But, you know, all of us know that that's not true. What are some of the, what are some of the strategies that, you know, you've taken? What are some of the paths that have allowed you to monetize data in a very interesting and perhaps non-conformist way, i.e., you know, looking at privacy rules, but also being able to understand how we increase or accelerate revenue? Or to bring up a point that Erick said, you know, it's about cost efficiency as well, because monetizing data is both internal and external. What are some of the strategies that you've used? And I'll throw that out to the group of you. So whoever wants to jump in can go for it.
Well, maybe let me start.
Yeah, sure.
What I think is that well, most of the you know, common, or at least most of the organization usually try to see this opportunity like you know, try to sell our data, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But it is something that is not easy to do. So I think that this is one approach. Maybe another one is to look what you mentioned as an internal, I suppose, but is something like identify opportunities or and meet needs on our customers, on our products, on our channels, by looking for insight over the insights. So that is an interesting approach, and absolutely it needs a strategy to do that. But it's like if you are able to group the propensity scores of a group of people, and segmentation, and a different kind of analytics assets,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you apply over that some BI or some analytics, maybe you can identify new opportunities to monetize data. So that it's interesting.
Yeah. How easy is it when you're coming from quite a perhaps maybe I'm making an assumption from a low level of maturity, across 30 different companies, and how easy is it to start to say, oh, we can definitely drive revenue or increase customer acquisition or retention, and then you're sort of trying to catch up continuously with the foundations and the principles of monetization. How do you measure that as well, Iván?
Well, yeah, that's talent. We, first of all, my suggestion is not to focus on just one initiative, because these projects might bring the value that was expected, but they can also fail. These projects have the highest error rate among any project in the world. So you have to manage this as a portfolio, first of all, and then and that's something that has happened to us. We've done several projects, and then you have some of them that they don't bring the value that was expected, or it's harder to measure than we thought. Others, they're okay, and then you have one or two that give you like it's like a home run, it's where you really win the match.
Yeah.
So and it's always easier to measure the value driven by the use of AI and machine learning in processes related to clients, when you can prove that you're selling more or you are reducing the attrition of clients, and we've done so. The problem is how you measure value in the projects that are not so tightly coupled to the selling process, but are also necessary. They're bringing value, but it's sometimes it's harder to measure.
So Leandro, when you're creating or thinking about new revenue streams, or trying to think about perhaps new products, where do you start to embed the principles? Because I very much liked what you said earlier on about the ideation, and do you build off your product or your customer view or from an ideation perspective, and put in the measurements in a way that you're tracking at each point, and then the data is telling you what's happening? How do you build that end to end?
Sure. I mean, first of all, in my organization, the data analytics organization in the company has profit goals. I mean, we are responsible to improve the profitability of the organization.
So you're not a cost center.
We need to improve in 4%.
Yeah.
No.
That's great. So you're a profit center.
So,
yeah.
Exactly. So
fantastic.
So, but I mean, how we do so, we need the business areas.
Yeah.
How we engage business areas. We start with this designing process. So we work together in order to come up with the initiative that we're going to generate results. No matter if it is results through new revenue streams or through cost efficiency program, whatever, or reducing risk. So we have all those projects and we have all those initiatives. Some of the initiatives are just created by the business unity during these ideation sessions, or maybe something that we as a little bit more technical, I mean, with the data scientists and analytics translators, try to push some ideas into the business area. So once we have this, we are able to understand what's the overall impact that we're going to generate in the organization. When we start the process, so we start with this MVP, we start with this just pilot. So pilot and control groups. And then we measure the overall impact of the initiative. After that, we need to deploy the solution. And so we have established a process to assure that even if we don't have in the deployment, I mean, after the deployment, we don't have more control groups or A/B tests or something like that. So we need to guarantee that everything is working on and we are capturing the results. How do we do so? We do so by guaranteeing that our models, our scores, our models are performing, and also certain business indicators that are associated to the use of those scores are good as well. And we have several meetings, I mean, during the year to guarantee that that value is being captured by the organization. But I mean, it's not only about one or other project. It's about the entire portfolio of project that we have come up in the ideation session.
So when you're working, say, with across a multiple strand strategy with people from different business units, how are you ensuring that there's no duplications, there's no someone's going off and doing their own thing, and how do you make sure from both data and analytics to the business that this is congruent? People are you're not doubling up, or to use a term, there's no analytical debt.
First of all, what we establish is a govern process. I mean, based on that, we are able to establish the rules, the correct way of performing the MVPs and the projects. We don't want to centralize all the decisions, all the analytics processing across the organization. On the contrary, we want to democratize the use of data analytics across the organization. And to do so, we have established this governance process, and also all the alignments needed to development of good practice in terms of data solutions development and also analytics solution development. And we have also developed several, Python libraries to facilitate the use of analytics for the non-technical people, but guaranteeing that those usage is not going to jeopardize the results or the project itself, And then we have this committee in which we get together everything in order to guarantee that we are on track, that we are not having redundancies and things, in things like that,
Fantastic. I like the idea of that strong governance culture across that. So Erick, one thing that sparked me right now with what Leandro said is the whole idea of the organization setup. How deeply or centrally you embed data and analytics, which I think Iván will have a really good point to that, because, having 30 different companies, but from a bank perspective, how is the organization utilizing a central bunch of people and then being able to send down the and be closer to the business to help define, to help understand, to help create change? Or is that still something which is more centralized? Or how have you affected that organization structure?
Sure. But I think that, try to centralize all the operation of the and the knowledge and the analytics capacities is not the right thing to see that. I think that we need to work in order to progressively try to democratize the practice, and also try to empower the business teams in order to get in more value during the time. So it's a process, of course, because some teams are more mature than others, so we need to work on that. But it's important to have a structure, an organization that can help us to support that progression during the time. And also because it doesn't happen from teams should probably at the beginnings, business team should need some should need work together with data teams. Then we can federate that, but it is important to create a model,
sure.
with a clear services, with a clear ways to work together as a federate, as a flow to work, as a centralized. So we need to define a group of a group of services and an operating model. And this operating model should be flexible, I think.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Great thoughts, actually, and that leads on to Iván. I think from having 30 companies, not every single company is going to be the same. How do you manage that complexity with different operating models and structures and so on?
Well, first of all, we have to assume that we cannot work with 30 companies at the same time. It's just impossible. So we have to focus on, and we don't want to focus all our efforts in one company either. So, but we have to pick 4 to 5 companies to be working on at the same time. The bank is, of course, the more mature company in terms of the use of data analytics.
Yeah.
And then we started to focus on companies of the retail group. And we started to work in different kind of projects in each of the companies. So for example, we started in one of the companies, we started working on data democratization initiatives. In others, we started to work with some AI or machine learning use cases. In others, we started to work on building a single customer view of their clients. So
they're all at varying different levels of maturity as well, and you've got to keep a handle on all of that.
And probably, many of them need the same initiatives, but we try to, as we have limited resources.
Sure.
We cannot use them all at the same time in all the different companies of the group. So we focus some of our resources in 1 or 2 companies. So we perform an initiative. We learn what was right, what we have to fix. So when we try to scale that kind of initiative, it's not the first time we've done it. We already know how to do it in a better, more efficient way. So that's the way we're doing. And it's, as Erick mentioned, this is something that it's an evolution.
Yeah.
We started working on this way just to start making some traction inside each company. And that was last year. So this year, we are now able to start having this conversation of a data strategy at the highest level of each company. But we needed to start making some traction at each company.
Yeah,
so
sure.
You have to know, you have to understand where you are, what the maturity level of the company is, and start making some traction. Then going up to the strategic level, and then again go down to help them develop the projects that they've have come up with.
Yeah, I think it's probably harder than you say it is. You make it sound so easy. But listen, you know, we've come to the top of the hour. I really want to know a little bit more about CDO LATAM and what you guys are doing, because you know, and what's happening with CDO LATAM. So you know, I throw it out to you. What's going on with that?
Well, I don't know if Leandro wants to give some words about CDO LATAM, or if not, I will like to complement it, but I will give the word.
So CDO LATAM is an initiative to try to literate data analytics in the executive level of the organization, and also to develop the careers of data analytics across Latin America. So the idea is to put together all the CDOs of Latin America in order to guarantee that we are working on projects that can leverage the resources, increase the talent pool, and also to guarantee that everyone in the organizations can understand about data analytics and how data analytics can improve results for the organizations and provide a better life to everyone. So this is what we aim at, and we have been working a lot in order to develop this, but we are just beginning. So it's a very nice project.
Great. So it's a new initiative, bringing together lots of people across Latin America, and that's fantastic. I love that. So look, thank you so much for your time today, Erick, Iván, Leandro. And Leandro, we saw your dog come on screen as well. So very nice and comfortable. No, that's great. So thank you so much for your time today. It's been fantastic speaking to you all, and I wish you all good luck in your roles, and speak to you soon.
Thank you, Samir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Samir. Thank you, guys.
Have a great day.
Pleasure.
Samir, thank you so much.
Bye.